Today's objective is two-step equations. Basically, two-step equations have two steps. The first thing you are going to do is you are going to use addition or subtraction property of equality to get the term with the variable alone. Okay? So we're going to do our addition and subtraction first, and we're going to do that in order to get the variable or the letter by itself. Step 2. Use the multiplication or division property to get the variable with a coefficient of 1. Remember, the coefficient is the number in front of your variable. Okay, so I want my coefficient to be 1. Okay, I don't want there to be any other amount there. I don't want 2x or 4x, I just want 1x. Okay. There is one exception to this step. So in 99% of the cases, you're going to do your addition and subtraction first, and then your multiplication and division second. There's only one exception to this, and we're going to go over that in a few minutes. Very important concept number 1. You want the variable positive and by itself on one side of the equal sign. Okay, so it has to be a positive, not a negative x, but a positive x, and alone on one side of the equal sign. Let's look at some examples. If I have 2x plus 10 equaling 16, again, the first step is to do my addition or my subtraction. If I look and I have the equal sign here, I need to go ahead and the x is here. That's what I'm trying to get alone. I need to go ahead and get rid of my 10. So addition and subtraction undo each other. So I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. This leaves us 10 minus 10 equals nothing, which is what I want it to equal. Okay, if it didn't cancel out, then I wouldn't be making any progress. So those are gone, it equals 0, and I simply have 2x equaling 6 left over. Okay, again, multiplication and division undo each other, so we are going to divide by 2 on both sides. 2 divided by 2 gives me 1, which is again what I want, because this would be a 1x. So we just have x equaling 6 divided by 2 is 3. We can come over here and check our answer. Remember, you rewrite the equation and simply fill in your solution into the equation. So we would have 2 times 3 plus 10. 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 10 does in fact equal 16. So I know that I am correct. If you look at example number 2, negative 18 minus 3y equals 12. The very first thing I'm going to do is to add or subtract the constant there. Okay. In this case, we have a negative 18, so I'm going to add it to get rid of the negative and add it to both sides. If I did that, these would cancel out and equal 0, which is what I want. Okay. So I have negative 3y. Pay attention to the fact that this is a minus 3y, which is the same thing as plus a negative 3y. So you got to take that negative sign with it. So negative 3y equals 30. And then you would divide by a negative 3 on both sides, and y would equal negative 10. You come over here and check. Plug your answer in. If you were to do that, you have to be careful here. This is the same thing as plus a negative 3. If you had a negative 3 and a negative 10, you would end up with a positive 30 if you multiply them together. So negative 18 plus 30 gives me 12, and that is in fact a true statement. Remember, if it doesn't end up to be a true statement in your check, you need to return to your equation because something went wrong. Okay, number 3. M divided by 2 plus 4. Okay, again, you're going to add or subtract first. In this particular case, we're going to get rid of that 4. And instead of that, this is addition, so I have to subtract 4 from both sides. These cancel out, okay, which leaves us with m over negative 2 equaling a negative 14. M divided by 2, to undo division, you must do multiplication. So we're going to multiply by a negative 2 on both sides, and m would come out to equal 28. Okay. Again, if you checked and you plugged your answer in, you would find that negative 10 equals negative 10. Okay, let's look at number 4. Number 4 has a lot of stars around it because it is my exception to my rule. So I need you to pay close attention to number 4. If I have x minus 4 all divided by a negative 3, notice the entire x minus 4 is divided by a negative 3. equals a negative 6, okay? I must first, in this, normally I would first add or subtract, but in this case that's not going to work. It's kind of like the x minus 4 is stuck in that fraction, okay? So we have to get rid of the fraction first in this particular case, okay? But notice the difference between 3 and 4. On number 3, it was just m divided by negative 2, and then the 4 was off by itself. In number 4, it's the entire thing divided by a negative 3. Okay, so we're going to multiply by negative 3 to get rid of the fraction. These would equal 1, so they cancel out. And I would just end up with x minus 4 equaling 18. So to get x by itself, I would add 4 to both sides, and I would get x equals 22. To check, you fill in 22 for x, and you would find out that 18 divided by a negative 3 does in fact equal a negative 6. So we have a check there, and we know that we're good. Using deductive reasoning to justify your steps, we need to know why this works and what properties it works with, okay? If we have the same type of equation, I simply just wrote what the properties were off to the side. So here, again, the entire thing is not encompassed in the fraction, so we can take care of the 9 first. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. X divided by 5 is going to equal 2. And then to get rid of that, I'm going to multiply by 5. When I subtract 9 on both sides, it is the subtraction property of equality. And when I multiply by 5 on both sides, it's the multiplication property of equality. Okay. Look at number 2. You pay very close attention to this. If we have negative y minus 5 equaling 11, keep in mind, they're not going to write that 1 there. Okay, if you want to write it there, that's fine. So I went ahead and wrote it. Negative 1y minus 5 equals 11. Addition and subtraction first, so we're going to add 5 to both sides. Okay, these 5's equal 0, so they cancel out, they're gone. So I have negative 1y equaling 16. And then I'm going to divide by a negative 1, okay? Because remember, my variable must be positive. And in order to get it positive, I must divide by that negative 1. Okay, so y would equal a negative 16. I use division property of negative 1, addition property of equality, and the division property of equality. Let's apply this to a word problem, okay? You are going to be asked to write word problems write equations for word problems. So suppose you are helping prepare a large meal. You can peel 2 carrots per minute. You need 60 carrots. How long will it take you to finish if you already peeled 18? Okay. So basically the first thing we need to do is define our variable. Okay. So x is going to equal what? Well, in this case, I'm looking for how long will it take. So x is going to be time in minutes. Okay, so we know that we can peel 2 carrots per minute. Okay, 2 carrots per minute is 2 times x, because we have 2 per minute. But we also know that we've already peeled 18. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say, well, I've already peeled 18. And together, we know we have to have 60. Okay, so to solve that equation, again, we're going to add or subtract first. So let's subtract 18 from both sides. Okay. Okay, so we have 2x equaling 42. And then I have to divide by 2. Again, these cancel. X would equal 21. So 21 what? 21 minutes.